All right, well, good evening, everybody. What I want to do is say the obvious, which is that leaders in times that are tough have to innovate and have to adapt. And I believe the way we do that is by looking hard and honestly at our circumstances and our own unique strengths and go from there. So tonight, my job is to tell you about kind of the two areas in which I'm working, specifically the environment, and more specifically, climate change and trying to make the Northwest more wild, and secondly, education reform. And of course, you guys all know that these are huge societal challenges, they are huge political challenges, and they get increasingly big economic challenges. And I'm an analytical systems type guy, and I want system solutions, and that set of problems pisses me off. So, in the environment space is where I'm going to start. And I think like a few fortunate kids, my folks got me started down this road. We were a camping family and a hiking family, and it took off from there for me. And you know, I think that sometimes the abiding sense is we're not making progress, but we have had some successes. And so this is a coal-fired electrical plant. We have now scheduled the shutdown of both of these in Oregon and Washington. We have also helped to make the Northwest more wild by reintroducing large mammals like the wolves back into our ecosystems. In education, but unfortunately we have lots and lots of challenges, and among them, ironically, coal, back again here in the Northwest, now as an export commodity to fuel China's growth. And of course, our increasing and continuing challenge in our inability to clean up Puget Sound. So the strategy that I'm employing in this space, I like to think of as a little mini Gates Foundation, and really mini. But it's big on philanthropy and frankly modest on political engagement. And the big on philanthropy to me means simply I'm choosing to work with a very small number of organizations that I think are producing great outcomes on the ground. They've got a pragmatic sense, they're willing to do deals, and that will advance the ball. And importantly, I think that matches up with me. As Paul indicated, I've got a long business career behind me. I think that tends to make you more pragmatic by your very nature. And I respect the science and I respect our economic needs as well. But it is an adaptation from sort of the self I was before I joined SVP, when frankly my philanthropy was spread across many, many groups in the environment space and probably was not especially productive. Now, in the education space, this was at the University of Chicago. Thank you, Paul. I got the germ of sense as a graduate student that I could compete based upon my public school education with really elite Ivy League kids and do quite fine. And again, I think we have the sense in education that we're not being successful. But you can find lots and lots of small-scale successes in schools all over Seattle and in our communities. Mercer Middle School in Seattle is an example. Trish just talked to us about the TAF Academy as an example, the hybrid model. And many, many nonprofits showing us the way in serving kids and families and also establishing proof points that can help us drive the future of public education. Now, having gone into politics for a brief bit, the challenge and the interest that I have personally is the challenge of scale in public education. And unfortunately, these institutions are very, very difficult to manage. And so here I'm spreading my philanthropy as my primary strategy to create proof points, but doubling down on the electoral side. So scale challenges. If you want to do well by Washington's kids, there are 1 million of them. If you want to improve educational instruction in this country, there are 3 million teachers. Gates Foundation, the biggest giver in the space, its giving is dwarfed just by Seattle Public Schools budget. And the level of dysfunction is phenomenal. Look at the turnover statistics at the elected and leadership level in Seattle just in the last 7 years. That is not the profile of a leadership team that can drive the systems change we want. And if you're into politics, you have some bad days. Unfortunately, that picture was on the front page of the Seattle Times last winter, 6 days before we fired a superintendent and chief financial officer, and 8 months before I lost my bid for re-election. The good news is we had some good days. We improved the teacher's contract, we've got a better evaluation system, and through some additional political engagement, we've actually driven that now on a statewide basis. So I think the strategy matches who I am. I'm a more political person now. I've got some experience that I didn't have. I'm pragmatic, and I think that's needed in this space. So I've chosen to adapt. We all know, back where we started, times are really tough out there, but there are a ton of individual philanthropic leaders and organizational leaders in this room. Each and every one of us has the opportunity and the obligation to learn from our own unique strengths, to learn from our circumstances, adapt, innovate, and better serve our communities. Thank Thank you very much.